in. I can put you in. And I can put you in. I can put you in.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Thank you for what's going on. What's going on? Thank y'all for tuning in to the BHLC podcast tonight here at the 21st Germantown. The one and only, the big head light skinned comedian. That's right. Got a great show for y'all tonight, as usual. It's the second Saturday of the month. I got to go over a couple things before I bring my guests in. First and foremost, tonight's show is sponsored by the 21st Borough Room here down at 1481 South Shelby Street in Louisville, Kentucky. They got something going on down here tonight. It's hold on, let me go over there real quick. So if y'all want to come down here and support what they're doing, they got a Fist of Riffs, which is metal indoors type of music, and Fist of Riffs. And tonight they got, and it's $20 at the door. They got the Skull, Speed Dealer, Drugs, Storm Tokers, Blackwater Station, Music, and SHC. So they about ready to start with that. So y'all come down here and check that out. And it's $20 at the door. It's a metal war to a Fist of Riffs right here at the 21st Borough Room. With that said, too, it's been my pleasure to do other people's podcasts and give them love because people give me so much love. So I've been doing Mook in the morning on Instagram on Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays every now and then. I'm not on there every day, but most of the time I'm on there. You can say every day, but on Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, it's at 9 o'clock on Monday, Wednesday, Friday on Instagram. Make sure you put in Mook in the morning and go follow that. And you'll hear a lot of good things on Mook in the morning, the podcast. We have a lot of fun. We talk about a lot of different topics. So make sure you support Mook in the morning. It was part of the Wu-Tang Clan. Okay. Also, too, I'm just going to touch a little bit on this because we're going to talk about this probably. I'm probably talk about this with my guests. I don't know if you noticed, I got the green BHLC podcast episode 33, green representing Mental Health Awareness Month. That's right, it's Mental Health Awareness Month. If you need help, as with some mental things, don't be scared to call certain numbers to get their mental help. There are a lot of people I heard sometimes walk around need mental help and just scared to get the help. So, and some people just don't want the help. But please get help or help somebody else because you really can be saving them a whole lot of things mentally where they can get themselves together mentally and be better with inside themselves. Also, too, my other sponsor is the Pre-Father's Day Comedy Showcase right here at the 21st Borough Room, June 17th, day before Father's Day, on the Saturday, 8 o'clock. It's a BHLC production. It's my show. It's my production. But I got host Jai Chandler as my host, Jay Chandler as my host. I got Kenny Never Been Skinny. I got Sheesh the Comedian. I got Sporty T, the one and only OG Sporty T. I got who else I got on this show? P.I. Average Joe. And I just got a lot of funny comedians. About 6 comedians and a host. So come down here and check it out. Pre-Father's Day. Bring that king out to enjoy some stand-up live comedy. That's what you do for the Father's Day gift. Just don't keep telling that king to go cut the grass and make sure you let the seed down with him. Bring him out for some comedy so he can enjoy himself. All right. Now, let me get to my guest here tonight. Real good friend of mine. We've been knowing each other a long time. He's doing things, a lot of big things. And I'm just happy to have him on my podcast. We've been missing our timing with getting on my podcast. He's been busy, and I've been busy with some things. But we worked it out, and he's here on my podcast tonight. Which I give him a big BHLC podcast welcome. I give my good friend, the one and only Jerry Pauly, welcome to the podcast. Come on, man. What's up, Jerry?
What's going on, man? It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while, ain't it? Yeah, it's good seeing your face, man. I didn't really tell him a little bit because I didn't want to go over your resume. I didn't have a big long script here, so I'd let you do that. But just tell the people, look, I want to start off my podcast where I like to know who they're talking to and your resume and everything, what you do and what you do out there as far as what you're doing. So for the people. So just let them know a little bit about yourself before we get started here.
Well, you and I go back about almost 20 years. And it
Yep.
sure don't seem like that long, but it
I
has
know.
been. So we were doing stand-up comedy together back in the day, all the major clubs around town, and then the smaller clubs and the bars and stuff like that. So that's how we got to know each other. And then
Right.
about 7 years ago, I decided after about 15 years of stand-up comedy that was enough for me. I loved the comedy part. I loved being on stage.
Right.
I hated all the behind the scenes stuff that nobody. I mean, how many times we do a show and somebody be like, "Oh man, you made X amount of dollars for being on stage for 30 minutes," or it's like, I wish that's all it was. People didn't know, we had to sell our own tickets. We had to go to all these different venues and try to set up these shows, only to
Right.
have people pretty much say, "Well, why would we bring in music? We're not going to bring in comedians." You know, I
Right.
was I was one of the first ones actually in town to go to all these bars and start setting up open mics and stuff like that.
Right.
And I'm glad to see a lot of people do it now. And places like 21st and Germantown, they're doing good. Of course, the Bardstown was doing it, and a bunch of other places. But we we had to set these shows up, and then we had to get other comedians and make sure that they actually showed up, and then we had to sell all of our tickets. And yeah, it was a lot of about 40 hours that probably went into every show we did.
Right.
That
Yeah.
people didn't see that part. So I got tired of that part, and I decided
Right.
nice. So I decided I wanted to do something a little bit different. But
Yeah.
every time I would get out of comedy, I would miss it and get back in. So I was like, I got to find something different to do. And what I decided to do was go ahead and start a podcast. I heard some podcasts and I thought, you know what, I could probably do something like that. And I heard a paranormal podcast
Right.
and I said, I didn't even know those things existed. And this, like I said, this was 7 years ago. And I
Yeah.
decided, you know what, I'm going to start a podcast. I got a friend of mine together and I said, I think we can do this, but I don't know if it'll ever make money. I don't know if we can make money off this thing.
Right.
And I started the podcast with a friend of mine named Ricky.
Woo-hoo.
We
Just-
we did it.
Woo! I'm just trying because they got this metal band playing in the background. I'm trying to get them close this door so people can hear you in my podcast.
No, I got you. I completely
That's all.
understand.
And matter of fact, hey Ariel, can you shut that door for me because it's too loud. Yes, please keep the door shut. Thank you. She's got it for me. So, but yeah, and I'm funny you said everything you're talking about is so real because simple fact, it's like I always put different type of pictures on my podcast flyers. And I don't know if you noticed, I think it was last month or month before last. I put a picture of me, you and your wife, Stress, Calvin. I can't think of the rest of the comedians, a couple other comedians. And we had just got through doing comedy at the Improv on 4th Street Live when it first came here.
Yep. I think
And I
Shannon
put that-
Miller
I
was
used
in that
as my
picture.
Yeah. And I put it as one of my podcast flyers about a month or two. It might have been last month. I ain't sure. But it just because, like you said, we've been doing this stand-up so long. And I'm like you. A lot of people just don't know what goes on behind the scenes. Like just the behind the scenes stuff. And sometimes you be like, oh, my God, So now I'm really behind the scenes because I'm just got my entertainment, my production, and especially with this podcast and putting on shows. So, and I'm really behind the scenes, which is good and bad. But I always want to make sure everything's all right with my shows. I got to make sure everybody's straight across the board. And it's a lot of work. It's a lot of light skin work, but I got to keep pushing because people are loving my shows. They love to come to support. And I know people in today's time with everything that's going on, they just want to have a good time and laugh and come out where it ain't too expensive and have a good time, And that's what I put out there for them. That's the platform I put out there for them, so they can come and have a good time here at the 21st Borough Room when I do these shows. Like I said, I got the next show June 17th here at 21st Borough Room. But I love putting them together and getting the comedians, and I love all my comedians love doing it because they have to. Now I will say this for what it's worth, they sell their own tickets, and that's great. It's kind of like what we used to do back in the days sometimes. So. But I tell comedians, if you do my show, you have to be able to sell tickets. If not, I'm not going to, it's not the show for you. And I'm not mad at you. I really ain't mad at you. It just ain't the show for you. So, but just want to, like I said, trying to keep a lot of local comedians as well, comedians out of town to do my show. Keep them busy, keep them working, and letting people see them and stuff. So, yeah. And I just enjoy doing it. Like I said, I know we got a lot of history together from doing shows together. So, but with that said, too, how are you saying something about your pod? You got a podcast you do too, right?
Yeah, that's actually how we make a living now. My wife and I have been doing nothing but this podcast for 3 years now, a little over 3 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, and I started this podcast in 2020. This has been going 2 years strong. So I really enjoy doing it, you know, so, and just giving out the information to people and so they, you know, can know different things that's going on and stuff. So, but let me go into this here because I want to just talk about a couple of things here and get started here. What do I have down here? Okay. Knowing that everything that's going on out here in the world, here's one. I tell people all the time, there's a generation difference as far as, and we kind of talked about that just now with stand-up people. There's a generation difference. Generation today versus generation 20, 30 years ago is totally different. And whether it's with stand-up or just raising your kids or whatever, you know. And I tell people, it's hard now. I will say generations different, but I put my face. I'm saying this: generations are different, but as parents, we haven't changed. But some of us have because we're not as hard as our kids as we should be, you know. And that makes us as punk parents, like Bernie Mac said. So we have to just still install that toughness in our kids now. That even though the generations are different, you know, especially with technology and everything. And I love my kids, but I raised them differently. I raised them the way my father did, but I raised them differently with some principles of today included in the mix and bowl raising. You know what I'm saying? So, and you have to do that because generations are different, especially with technology. That's what we're doing right now with this podcast. So, but you can elaborate a little bit on the generation difference of today versus 20, 30 years ago. It's a big difference.
I agree with you that I think it does make a difference in the what we see in society today. For example, you know, we're roughly the same age, I'm going to say, you know, and you know, I'd be willing to bet that you grew up the same way I did, getting your ass beat every time you didn't do something the right way. I mean, whippings were just something that was handed out, you know, and that was a common thing. You know, my grandma would, you know, make me go cut a switch off our tree, you know, go cut that switch off the tree and beat me with that switch. And I remember one summer we were so bad we didn't even have shade. You know, that's how bad I was.
Right.
You know, and then, you know, as I got older, you know, I spanked my kids, but probably not to the level that I got spanked. You know, it was changing a little bit. And now you don't even dare even touch a kid because they'll be on the phone with CPS.
That's right. Yeah.
And I think what that's done, and this could be controversial to some, but I think you see a total lack of respect from teenagers these days.
Oh, yeah.
Even more than nowadays. It's always been, you know, every generation's like these teenagers don't, and it probably is a little different for each generation. But now you see fights in school, you know, with kids fighting teachers.
Hey, man. Hey, man. Can you close that door back there? Yes, I'm listening. Yeah.
But you see kids fighting teachers now in school. That didn't used to happen all the time. You know, you seeing these kids with school shootings and stuff like that. I know that's a touchy subject, but you know, we could say it's got to do with guns. We could say it's got to do with mental health, but some of it's got to do with just kids I don't think have been disciplined right in the last 20 years, 25 years. Yep. So they, you know, you send a kid to timeout or something like that. I don't think it's got the same effect, but it seems like no kids today have the level of respect that we were brought up to show our elders or anybody else for that matter. It's just, there's just no respect out there. And I think a lot of it has to do with the way kids are disciplined. Now, can I honestly say I look at whipping the same way as I did 30 years ago? No, I don't. There is part of me that's like, there's probably got to be a better way than, you know, because it does kind of seem barbaric, but at the same time, it worked. Yeah, you know, so I don't know what to do today, but there's definitely a generation difference, and I think it's the way kids are disciplined over the years.
It is, and the thing of it is the same principles there. It's how you do it. It's not what you do, it's how you do it. What I was always told. It's all about how you handle it. Like they couldn't get the whoopings I got. Like that. I love my father death. They couldn't handle the whoopings I got, but it made me the man I am today. But I know how to I know what helps gets my kids focused. You know, sometimes it's a matter of lifting my voice a certain tone or whatever. Y'all don't have to put my hands on. And it is certain different. Then a lot of these kids nowadays, they just different for whatever reason, whether it's the upbringing or the mindset, or I don't know, through COVID 2020, they just different. But they're good kids. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of good kids out there. There really is.
Yeah, but people don't want to say this, but they're softer. That's what it is.
Yeah,
they're softer. They get offended easier. They get their feelings hurt. You know, and once again, not saying that it was right, but you know, we grew up in an age where you had coaches like Bobby Knight that would yell and scream and this and that. And you know, there's not as many coaches that yell and scream today. You know, you can't get by with that in the NBA.
No,
you can't get by with that in the NFL because it's a different generation that just don't deal with that. Again, I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying that it's different now, and people are a little softer. They get their feelings hurt a little more, and it's definitely going to come into play in all aspects of life.
And a lot of them, you know, because I had a young lady on my podcast. She's part of ECHO, which is Exploiting Children Help Organization. And she was talking about some of the things these kids go through, which they do, because a lot of it starts at their home, and some don't have that parent there, and the parents there, or whatever the case may be. I understand there are certain cases where I get that, but some of them do have that problem, and why they are the way they are. So I try to be real open-minded to that with a lot of these kids. Some kids are approachable. Most kids are approachable, and some ain't. It just depends. But I just know that I've always been the type, I feel like I can talk to a kid, because it's all about the approach and the communication at all times. When you talk to our kids nowadays, it's just totally different. That's like my next door neighbor. This happened some years ago. He put a basketball court out there, and he told the kids they could play basketball as long as he was home. Okay, that was part of the deal. Well, I pull up home one day and came in go in my house. They over there playing, but my neighbor's not home. So being the parent I am, being the grown up that I am, I went over and said something to him. I said, "What did he tell y'all?" He said, "We couldn't play with him." I said, "Why are y'all playing?" I said, "Just leave." I said, "He'll be here in about another hour till you come back." I said, "I know y'all enjoy playing basketball. I get that." I said, "You just gotta wait another hour or two and you can play." They got the ball. They all left. So I get it. It's just all a matter of talking to them, you know, so more than anything. I want to go in this too, being that it's. Let me see if I can find it here. Being that it's Mental Health Month, I wanted to talk about that because it's real big. I even I know people that have some mental issues. But I tell people, you'd be surprised how much a text, a hug, or even a conversation helps a person from going to do something with a different mindset. And we really have to really do better with mental health. There's a lot of ex-military people who have mental problems, you know, and for whatever reason, we got to help them. Some of them want to help, some of them don't. We need to help them. We got a lot of military people out there with mental health. This is Mental Health Awareness Month. And I just wanted to put it out there for people. If you have any problem, call a mental health hotline number to get help. And the main thing on this, let me just say this, is don't be scared to get the help. A lot of us think we can get the help, be scared or feel some type of way about getting help. Like I might be looked at differently. Don't feel like that. Because especially ever since 2020 and a lot of other things, even before 2020, people was having mental health problems. It's just really come to the forefront here recently with a lot of things going on in America. So, but you could elaborate a little bit more on that. How you feel about that mental health?
Well, that's something that's something near and dear to our heart. You know, I had suffered from depression for years. I had a failed suicide attempt back in 2001. Okay. I've even written a book.
That's great, man.
That actually tells people, you know, how I overcame and what we've done. I mean, you know, our podcast, Love Us, has 22 million downloads year to date.
Wow. Man, that is awesome.
Yeah, it's a huge amount. So we decided to use that to help others. And we start off every one of our episodes on Sunday night, which is our main episodes. We start off every one giving out the suicide relief number. Tracy and I, my wife, have given out our personal phone numbers. We actually talk to probably 10 or 12 people each a week that are just listeners who reached out to us. We took our Facebook group about 3 years ago. It's got 6,000 people in it right now. It's a private group.
Okay.
But we turned that completely into a mental health support group. So if you're in that group, and I'll tell anybody, Hillbilly Horror Stories on Facebook.
Right.
Just say you heard me. It's a private group. There's 9 moderators in this group, so nobody will ever criticize somebody else. If you got a situation and you just want to say, "Hey, I'm having trouble dealing with something," I promise you'll have 30 people talking to you about what's going on in a matter of 5 minutes, and it doesn't matter what time of night it is. We have moderators from all over the world to make sure that no matter what time somebody pops on, they've got somebody that can help them. And we have fun. There's funny memes and stuff like that in there too. But this is a safe place. So that's something that we take a lot of control on. If you look at any of our pages on social media and stuff, there's always the number on there. Our business cards on the back have the suicide help number and some helpful phrases and stuff. So that's something that we are 100% on board with, is trying to kill that stigmatism of people just afraid to get help or afraid to reach out. You have to reach out to people, man. It doesn't matter if it's a stranger, it doesn't matter if it's a friend, because your mind is a screwy thing. It will completely convince you of something that's completely wrong. Your mind will tell you that you're not wanted, you're not needed, people would be better off without you. And dude, that is just BS. It's all BS. Your mind is tricking you into thinking these things. You got to get out of your own head in most of these cases. Your mind will tell you you're a burden to people. Trust me, you're not. People would rather have you tell them your issues than to go to your funeral. So,
you're right. But you're right on, and I'm glad you put that out there, because I'm gonna send people your way too, because that's big to you as far as with that and with a link and everything. Because I tell people, that's why I always tell people, you're a human being first and foremost. That's what we seem to forget. People forget to treat people like human beings. You're a human being first and foremost, and you never know what mindset a person's in. That's why you always have to try to respect people the best. And if you need help, there's nothing the matter with that. I know people that are scared to get help, and some don't know where to get help. So it's just a matter of you have to be really, really want to get the help, And then some people don't want to get the help. I understand that, but go ahead.
Let me touch on this. They changed the suicide hotline number a few months back, and now it's just 988. So you don't have to go through know a number 988, just like the 911.
Well, I'm glad you put that out there.
And that's a crisis helpline. So you don't have to be suicidal. Dude, if you were having a situation to where maybe your wife left you and you're out of a job right now and you're just struggling, trying to figure out how to make ends meet, you can call and somebody will discuss that with you. You don't have to be suicidal. You just have to be struggling with something to be able to use that number.
You are so on point, because a friend of mine that worked with me at my job, he was going through some things, and some things happened to him. I ain't gonna go into details about it, but he was going through some personal things, and he was crying out for help by his actions. He was crying out for help, and we all at work was talking about it. And I told him, I said, I hope he gets the help he needs. And I told him, I said, I hope he gets the help he needs, because he just needs some help. It's not a bad thing to need some help. He's going through some personal issues. He just needs some help. And a lot of times people, they try to take all that on by themselves, and you're only human. You're going to take so much mentally. You're only human. Sometimes you need to talk to somebody, and just need to have a hug, or just need somebody to talk to. And the best thing to do in them cases is to reach out to somebody. And sometimes you don't even know you're in that circle. You just do it. You don't even know you're in that circle. So, but I tell people, the biggest thing of this is to make sure you reach out to someone. If you don't want to do the 988 thing, call a relative. Call your best friend, somebody, and talk to them, because you'd be surprised how much it helps you. And I just really feel like mental health awareness is something we really, really have to take seriously. And I'll help anybody if they need the help for mental health. I will, because like you said, nobody should be feeling like less of a human being just because of the way they are and way, different things. So no, you shouldn't have to feel like that, and it's really big. I'm gonna move on to something else, but That's dear to my heart. I'm definitely gonna send people your way if I know anybody with mental health issues, because that 988 number, or even send them your direction where they can talk to a moderator personally, more than anything. So, because this is kind of and I ain't gonna say it's related to mental health, but the economy. Me and the guy was talking today about how I feel like we're in a recession right now. Honestly, I do.
We are.
We're in a recession, but nobody wants to talk about it. So I'm going to put it out there. But the thing about being in a recession is, personally, as a human being, I tell people, you may have wants, but the most important thing is your needs. You have wants, but the most important thing you need. When I say needs, it's food, shelter, and maybe transportation. Okay, them are needs. You gotta eat. You gotta have some type of shelter and some transportation. But a lot of times in America, we have more wants than our needs, and we go over too much to our wants more than our needs. So I tell people, know the difference, and also if you know we're in a recession, and you have some difficulty with your money, learn how to budget your money, or get somebody to help you to show you how to budget your money. You ain't got to know everything in your personal business, but get somebody to help you. A lot of times we scared to get the help to learn how to budget our money, especially in an economy like it is now, where everything's going up, supply and demand, everything's going up, and they're taking away. As things go up, they're even taking away less. Like at the grocery store, you used to get a whole lot. They raise the prices and take more. That's where we live. But even what they say, you still got to eat. So you have to learn how to just budget your money. You can elaborate a little bit more on the economy thing.
I'll tell you something that I learned, and this was on budgeting a long time ago. If you have online banking, which everybody does today,
right?
You can go, if you go to just your account, say for last month, okay, a completed month, it will show you how much money you deposited, and then it'll show you how much money went out. And sometimes you will be surprised on that number that went out, and you'll be like, how in the hell did I spend that money? But you might have already asked before that. I figured, why am I having so much trouble saving money? I should have, for what I make on my job, and what my bills are, I should have more money. And then you'll find out how much money you spend at restaurants, how much money you spend at Walmart, how much money you just spend on stuff you don't at the movies.
It's a want.
But when you see those numbers next to each other, what came in and what went out, that what went out number sometimes will blow your mind.
Oh yeah,
because dude, I've had months where we brought in a number that would make some people sick.
Right.
And then I look at what went out and it was close to the same amount. I'm like, how the hell did we spend that much money? But then when you start breaking it down and looking at everything, but yeah, budgeting. I hear Dave Ramsey all the time talk about budget. I learned years ago from Dave Ramsey, who, if you haven't heard of Dave Ramsey, he runs a very popular talk show on how to save money and how to not get in debt. Well, he talks about putting every dollar that you have, give it a name. So if you know that you're going to bring home $600 this week from your paycheck, beforehand, take that $600. I got to pay rent. That's this much is going out for rent because rent's due on the first. I'm putting $300 behind each check. So $300's going for rent, and I've got gas that's $40. And then when it's all said and done, you're like, okay, I only got $40 left for like entertainment. The rest of this stuff goes for bills. And then you don't spend more than $40.
Right.
And if you know where all your money's going, you can see problems beforehand. You can be like, damn, I'm going to struggle to pay rent this month.
Right.
If all I get are $6, and you might know, hey, you might have the ability to work some overtime or something on your job. Not everybody's got that ability, but you might say, hey, I need to work some extra hours because I'm going to come up short. But you know that if you budget like that, and that's the easiest way, make sure every dollar has a name.
Right.
And because otherwise you'll just spend money, recklessly, and you won't even realize where it went and have nothing to show for it.
And I tell people, when it comes to money, you either make the money or money can make you at the end of the day. And the money really can make you if you don't make the money. Because a lot of times we spend in a way that just we don't think about.
It's too easy.
We do. We just don't. Like you said, you realize how much was going out versus coming in. You see them numbers, like, oh my God. but it was good. It was a reason for you to look at them numbers. So you can say, okay, I need to revert back here a little bit and make sure there's a little balance, So with that said, and I had a friend of mine, her and her husband trying to work out some things. Certain, I was telling her what to do for us on budgeted money, and she listened to me, and I guess they're doing it now, and it's great. I just know that, I guess I've been a big thing about wants and needs. I know I can say, hey, I like to have them that head over there, or a necklace, certain things, but do I really need that? What's more important, food or shelter? You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times, too, you can save more money if you can eating at home versus going out, because it costs so much to eat out.
That's where most of my money's blown at, to be honest with you, is eating out.
It costs a lot, man, to eat, especially if you like to eat seafood like I do, like to eat seafood and Italian food. So I always tell myself, try not to go out no more than once, twice a week, if that, you know what I'm saying? Because why go buy all these groceries and we're not sitting at home eating, you know what I'm saying? So I tell my wife, now we're going to stay home more often than going out and eat. And you see the difference. At the end of the month, you see the difference on the money. You're like, oh, my God. If you one month you went out and ate 20 times, and then one month you only went out and ate twice, you see the difference. So, but you just have to know the difference between the one, especially in this little recession we're in, because a lot of times I know some people feel it and some don't, but my thing is you only feel it if you're spending crazy money out there, which you don't have. If you're always negative or in the red, that's when you feel it. If you're smarter than your money, you'll be fine. But if you let your money get away from you, it can get away from you real quick. And you realize, especially in today's economy, that, whoa, I need to slow down here. I'm in the red, and next thing you know, I could be homeless. So it's people that go to being homeless because of bad spending. So. And this economy is, and I'm hoping we get out of it. I don't know how. I don't know what the answer is, but I hope we get out of it so people can feel a little bit better about themselves, their situation, their financial situation. And but it don't hurt to ask somebody that knows how to handle money and get a little help. I'll say that too. Kind of say with mental health. Don't be scared to get help. You ain't got to tell them all your personal business, but just ask for some help to get your financial situation together. So. Because everybody's situation is different financially. That's for sure, So here's one too. This going on big in America and our community, violence. I'm gonna tell you, I did a joke. I did a show last week here in Louisville, and I did a joke. And I was talking about the violence here in Louisville, and I told myself the violence is just went to a whole nother level. And I know a lot of people say because of cold, but I say it's a lot of things. You can say cold, but it's a lot of things that plays into this circle, okay? But I say this for what it's worth. I've never seen a gun kill somebody by itself and nobody behind it. I've never seen a gun just walk up and kill itself. So I still say it's the people. Now, with that said, I had a joke where I said, somebody asked me, hey, lovers, you own a gun? You got a gun, don't you? You know it's crazy. You got a gun? I said, no, I ain't got a gun. I said, but my wife do, and she will use it. And she used it on me once. So I tell people, you just have to make, but just because you have a firearm don't mean you have to use it. Like I said, people kill people. It's never the gun. So how do you feel about the violence in the community in America? These schools and everything.
It's crazy. And again, I'm going to go back to, I think part of it has to do with the way kids have been disciplined over the last 20 years. It's definitely given kids more of a, I guess, an attitude of I'm going to do what I want because there hadn't been as many consequences. I think that's part of it. I'm with you. If you go out and look at, I think I saw a stat the other day that said 99% of all violence that's committed with a gun is used with illegal guns. It's not the people. Only 1% of the shootings in America are happening by people who legally obtained their guns. So we could put all the rules and regulations on getting guns, but the bad people who end up with them are going to get them one way or the other. So that's my take on it. And I think you combine that. You can.
What's up?
What's up?
That's Ed, Big Ed.
I know, Big Ed. But you combine that with the way kids have been raised, with the fact that I think, especially in the last 5, 6, 7 years, I think attitudes have changed across the country where I think uh, there's too many changes
Hmm.
in the criminal system. I think they've tried to be a little lighter on people, and it's you see a shooting sometimes or a violence, whether it be
Right.
a rape or something like that. You'll find out this person's been arrested 30 times before, and
Right.
it's
Yeah.
so. I
Yeah.
mean, something's not working right with the legal system where people are getting out to recreate. Do these crimes because most of the people that commit violent crimes, it's not their first time.
No,
You
repeat
know,
offenders. You're right.
it's
Repeat
repeat
offenders.
offenders. So something's got to be done there, but I don't know what the answer is there. The jails are already overcrowded.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
maybe they should quit putting in people that are, marijuana charges and stuff like that and focus
Right.
on the real crimes that
Yep.
need to be in there. But I don't know, man. It's tough everywhere. It's not,
It
you
is.
mentioned Louisville, but it's tough here in Lexington where I live.
Right.
The last 3 years have all been higher crimes than the years before. And
Hmm.
I don't know. So it's a combination of the legal system, I think, and the way kids have been raised in the last 20 years. There's just not the respect factor there used to be.
Man, you know some valid good points. Some good points. I tell people on this topic. I don't have a solution, and if I did, I would put it out there if I had it. But I don't know the solution as far as taking the violence in our community and in America with our schools. I do say this. I said this one time. I feel like if you got a metal detector at the White House for the people coming to the White House, why can't you have it at our schools? I've always felt like that. I don't care how much money is going on within your states and all that. If our kids are our future, we need to protect them. And I've always said, if nothing else, especially in teachers too that are teaching our future, we need to have more metal detectors in these schools. And I think they're going to start doing it here in Louisville. Talking about it. I've always said that.
It's
As
going
far
to
as
have to be that way at malls and everything going forward. I mean, if you go to a concert out at the Yum Center, you got to go
right,
through metal detectors, or you go through a ball game. So I mean, it's going to have to be everywhere. There's as many people coming to probably Jefferson Mall as there is to, during the course of a weekend as there is to go to the Yum Center for a concert.
right, and I just wish the government they get ready to start putting some metal detectors in certain schools here in Louisville, but I don't care how y'all figure it out. Get these taxpayers to y'all take our taxpayers' money and figure it out, government, to get some metal detectors in these schools for these kids. Because should no kid have to be worried going to school whether or not they're gonna come home or not to their parents? That's not happening. You got a lot, and this is the type of America we live in. That they worry about now they're gonna come home now because all these mass school shootings at amusement parks everywhere. So, but I've always said metal detectors help. I don't have a solution to it. I don't. But we just got to be more aware and be more self conscious of everything that's going around us and what you're doing out here on a daily basis and what's going on. I'm very much aware of every time I step out the door of my surroundings. I tell people because it can happen just that quick, blink of an eye, So you have to really be aware of that. Let me get into this real quick, and then I'm doing my thing closed out. It's one of my favorite things I like to talk about. Here today, gone tomorrow. It's love, life, and money. I tell people I always got plenty of love for somebody. I always enjoy life, and I don't get too tied up in money because I know I can't take it with me. I still ain't seen me in the graveyard with me. I know I gotta have it while I'm here. I understand that, but I don't get too tied up in it. But that's one of my biggest pet peeves: love, life, and money. I call it LLM thing. It's almost just like I call insurance JIC, just in case some shit happens. So, how do you feel about that as far as love, life, and money?
Dude, I am 100% on board with this because I don't know even if you know this or not, but in January I actually had a heart attack and I went in to the hospital. I was in there for 8 days,
Mhm.
and at the time they did a procedure on me which should have been routine. Half a percent chance anything could go wrong, and I actually died on the operating table for 2 minutes.
Mm.
And they had to do CPR on me to bring me back. They had to stop the test. And so they broke about 4 ribs and broke my sternum. And
Mm.
I'm literally in the last 2 or 3 weeks just starting to regain everything
Right.
from that. And when you go through a situation like that, it puts stuff in a little more in perspective. Because I mean, that I literally might not have came out of that hospital under other circumstances. And then you think about, where do you leave your family? Where do you leave?
Yeah.
And my situation is, I have life insurance, but I don't have a ton, and my medical condition's so bad I can't get more.
Right.
So, I'm determined now to try to put my wife in a situation to where, if something happens to me, and I'll be honest with you, it can happen at any time, because the doctors have told me there's nothing they can do for me. When I asked the doctor at my appointment last week, I was like, hey, is there anything I shouldn't be doing? Because I don't want to risk it. And he just looked at me and said, dude, just live your life. That's not really what you want to hear. But at the same time, he's like, he basically was shrugging, saying,
Yep.
you can't control it. It's, my heart's beating. It's operating at about 20 to 25% of what it should be. And there's nothing they can do about it. And it's just going to get worse. So I just gotta live life. But, I know what I want to accomplish financially to put my wife in a better situation. So I can't take it with me, but I can make enough to leave her. And,
I understand that. Yeah,
and that's what I'm looking at. And that comes out of love. I love my wife more than anything in the world. You know us. We've been together for
I know,
17, 18, almost 18 years now. Yeah. And she's the love of my life. She's my soulmate. And I honestly don't care if I die. I just, that's not something I fear. But I do fear leaving her in a situation that would be, not ideal. And, so that's my thought. I'm going to live every day like it's my last, because it very well could be for any of us. But I even know even more, it could be for me,
Right. Yeah. I mean, you hit some good points here, because I kind of went through something too here recently, a little medical issue. I ain't gonna put out there what I went through, but I have my own little medical issues I went through. But I think when you go through that, it's a way of being open, your eyes being open spiritually about yourself as a well-being, back to mental health, about taking care of myself, and knowing that everybody don't live forever. But even though you feel like you do, that you wake up every day, but everybody don't live forever. But you enjoy it makes you want to enjoy life even more. And every moment you have a life, when you do go through something medical issue wise, trying to enjoy your life. I tell people all the time, don't put off nothing you can do today for tomorrow, and all that. Do it today, so you can enjoy it, especially with someone you love, or if you can do somebody for something else. I believe in giving plenty of love. Love costs nothing. And a lot of times we have so many negative thoughts. You'd be surprised how much love can carry you through a day and help somebody else out. And not only that, just yourself. I try to give as much love as I can to people. It's part of my first name, my first government name. Okay, so, and I really do, because I feel like if you stay humble, blessings will flow, and at the end of the day, like I said, we're just human beings, and you have to enjoy your life, Our life is really shorter than what we think, I got a friend right now going through some things with his father about ready to pass. And I called him and talked to him today, just give him some encouraging words, We just have to enjoy it. And like you said, like that doctor told you, just keep living your life. And that's all you can do, is keep living your life, regardless of some of the medical issues you go through. I know a lot of times it's what really makes me I tell people, that's why every day I wake up, I feel blessed, because they just close their children's hospital here in Louisville. A lot of these kids, they don't get the health fund. They only got so long to live, whatever. And I'm thinking, why am I sitting here mad or disgusted about this or that, health or whatever money, when some child over there, way younger, very young, they ain't had nowhere near the full life I've had, don't know if they're going to, when they're going to check out of here. I'm like, no. I always tell myself that. So, no, enjoy your life. Don't be mad about the small stuff, because life is too short. It really is. And I tell people, enjoy yourself. I try to keep a smile on my face, Jerry, enjoy myself. That. And that's just the way I am. And I try to give that love. And I try to get caught up in the money thing, because like my father always told me, as long as you're doing something busy and it's positive, nothing illegal, trying to make some money in a positive way, in a good way, and staying busy. You ain't worry about it. You'll be taken care of. It may not be your wants, but it'll be your need to be taken care of. So that's what I tell people: enjoy life, And that is, a lot of times we take this for granted. Here today, gone tomorrow. like I said, whatever you can do today, do it today. Because tomorrow is not promised to none of us. I heard a lot of people say, "Well, I got time to do this." Do you really? So that's just me. So I'm gonna go and do this for her, and then we'll close it out. And this is real close to my heart, and I'm kind of glad I got you on here tonight because let me speak in general. It's Mother's Day tomorrow, and I lost my mother last year around. Let's see, it was last year. We were 2020. Last year in September of last year, and hit me hard. And I knew she was leaving, Jerry. Okay, but the good thing about it though, I always made sure I got plenty of wisdom and knowledge from her to carry me through everything she taught me. And that's why I am the man today because of her love and her spirit. And I tell anybody, if you got a mother, especially every day was Mother's Day to me. Let me just put that out there. Every day was Mother's Day to me. If you got a mother, not just tomorrow being Mother's Day, make every day Mother's Day because they are golden. Now, I said this too, just because you have a child don't make you a mother too. Let me put that out there. Because there are some who's not being mother. Same way with your father on Father's Day. Just because you have a child don't make you a father. But my mother was there for me in every way possible, spiritual, financial, everything. I can always go to her, and just times and moments I just needed to talk to her was there. So I tell people, if you got that mother, you better embrace it. If you know what I know, because that can't be replaced. It ain't like going to get another loaf of bread. Once the mother's gone, they gone. It can't be replaced. And there's nothing in this world I wouldn't do for my mother. And tomorrow I'm going to go to her grave and pay my respects to her because there is no other woman that can be like my queen, And I thank her for bringing me into this world. And I'm going to see her again one day. I know I will. And she's looking down on me now, blessing me with this podcast, blessing me as who I am, and me, my wife, and my kids. So, but with that said, what's your feeling with Mother's Day tomorrow?
I lost my mother 2 weeks before Christmas back in 2005. So it's been, 17, 18 years or so now. Okay. It never gets any easier.
I'm sure.
But do you have time for a very cool story, though, involving my mom?
I got time. That's what we didn't come on. This is Mother's Day. I got time.
I'm going to share something that not everybody's going to believe, but this totally changed my life, Levis. So when my mom was around the last couple of years, we didn't have the best relationship. It used to be really close. Last couple of years, we didn't have a good relationship. She'd call sometimes, and I'd see it was her and just not pick up the phone, that type of thing. Sometimes I'd go over to the house. I'd see my dad. She'd be in the back bedroom. I wouldn't even go back there to say hi. So that's kind of a crappy thing to do. Well, I don't know if you were even a part of this show. You may have been. But back in 2005, there was a little place down on Story Avenue.
Hey, Keith, can you shut the door for me?
There was a little place down on Story Avenue that they were doing some comedy and music stuff.
Okay,
and one night, it was the night before, the 13th. I was doing a comedy show up there, and they were doing music and comedy mixed.
Okay.
And I got a call on the way there. It was sold out, but I got a call on the way there saying my mom had been rushed to the hospital, and they thought it might have been a possible stroke. My dad said, "You know what? Go do what you got to do. Me and your sisters are going down there. We will keep you updated. Just get there when you can." Okay. So I tried to hurry up and go on, but I was the featured act that night.
Wow. Okay.
So I didn't get to go on till like 11:30 that night. This was like the show was supposed to start at 8. So it's like 11:30, and I kept going to him saying, "Dude, I need to kind of get out of here." But I kept calling my dad. Well, eventually they said, "You know what? Everything looks to be fine. She's coherent. They don't think it was a stroke now. Okay. Just come up tomorrow or something. We're good. Okay. They're sending us home." Okay. So I felt okay. Well, when I got up the next morning, I got a call about 7 o'clock saying you need to get to the hospital now. And literally by 10 a.m., my mom was gone. I was holding her hand when she took her last breath. So you can imagine all the feelings that come in about all the times where I kind of ignored her in the last couple of years.
Yes.
Now we're going to fast forward 6 months. Okay. Chuck Porter. We all know Chuck Porter. I was doing a show with Chuck. Okay. I'd been doing stand-up already for a little bit when that happened. But I was doing a show with Chuck out on Miners Lane in the South End at a little place called Red Eyes.
I
Okay.
know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I was there really early. As
Uh,
I'm in the place getting ready to do this little hole in the wall bar. I mean, it had 2 rooms, the bar area and where they did karaoke, and that's where we were doing comedy.
Okay.
Fit maybe 30 people, maybe.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I've been done that before.
Now, I have a couple come in. This is probably 2 hours before the show. A couple comes in, they're bikers, okay? Stereotypical bikers. It's the guy's white guy. He's about 6'1", kind of burly, got the burly beard, all the leather jacket and stuff. And he's with a woman who was kind of rough looking. She, rode hard, put around wet. She definitely looked like a biker type. Not disparaging bikers, I'm saying, but when you think stereotypical, they just look like a normal set of bikers.
Right.
They don't know who I am. I start
Okay.
talking to them, and they tell me, they find out I'm a comedian. I said, "Are you going to be staying for the show?" And they're like, "No, we didn't know there was a show. We're actually leaving to go to another bar. This is just our first stop." I said, "Oh, okay." So then we're just talking, bullshitting, nothing major. They're telling me jokes. I'm telling them jokes. Well, then I go in there and I sit down in that other room, right where the show's going to be, okay? I'm going over my notes, getting my act together.
Okay.
They come in and sit down. Well, they're across the room, but I felt obligated to go talk to them because you're like, it's almost rude if you don't.
Right.
So
They right
I
there.
get up, I go sit down, and we're talking about nothing really. I don't even remember what we're talking about. Love us, here's what happened, and I swear to God, this is what happened. The guy looks at me and he says, "Hey, your mom just wants you to know everything's okay." Now they don't know anything about my mom. They don't. I'm thinking I missed a joke, and I did that little awkward kind of laugh because I must have missed something he thought was funny. And the woman reached over and put her hand on my hand, and she says, "No, seriously, your mom wants you to know everything's okay." And love us, I'm telling you, I broke down, man. It's
Okay.
like
I'm sure it
I
is.
knew she was there. And then we start talking. And I'm like, I just feel so guilty because we didn't have the best relationship. And they're like, yeah, we know that. And she wants you to know that everything's fine. You don't have to worry about all that. Put all that stuff behind you.
Right.
And love us, we had a conversation for 5 or 6 minutes on that.
Okay.
And then they got up and left, and I've never seen them again. They knew nothing about me, but somehow, some way, they had messages for me on something they couldn't have known. They had no way of knowing anything that my mom was passed or any of that. It was just the strangest thing ever. But that told me that there's an afterlife, and that told me that was I always thought. Now I know, and it's changed the way I look at life ever since because I'm not afraid to die.
Right. That was a spirit intervention. That's all it was, a spirit intervention. No, on both sides. You didn't know, he didn't know, you didn't know. That was strictly a spirit intervention. And it was about you. You were supposed to be at that place at that time. And that guy was supposed to be at that place at that time. That was a spirit intervention. And when spirit intervention happens, there's nothing you can do. You can't stop it. Nobody can stop it. So, but that was beautiful because it lit you up. It lifted, even though in that moment you was like, well, but it also lifted you up. But everything as far as your relationship with your mother in that moment just lifted you up, which is a beautiful thing. Mothers, and I call my mother queen. My queen knew how to lift me up. That's one person I could call if I was having a bad day. She knew how to lift me up. And the main thing of it, like I tell people, we come from a woman. So I've always tried to respect the woman. And that queen, she always knew how to lift me up. And that's just what she done, me being her son. I wasn't always I was a good kid, but I wasn't always the best of kids. I was a good kid, though, because I would do anything for my mom, but I wasn't that bad of a kid. Yeah, there was times I tested my mother, which I shouldn't have, because I used to be dark-skinned. She knocked it off. That's why I'm light-skinned now. But with that said, I tell people, that's what back to the kids. Everything she done for me, punishments, whoopings, or whatever, I deserved every last one of them. Because it made me who the person I am today, and I wouldn't be there without her. So, like I said, Mother's Day is truly a big day. Every day was Mother's Day for me. I put it on my page the other day. Me and her having breakfast somewhere. I tell them every day's Mother's Day to me. Enjoy, and a lot of times, now that she's gone in the afterlife or whatever, I feel her spirit Really, I feel almost even more than when she's even here because I feel a spirit, and you may feel it too with your mother, I'm sure. And I feel a spirit even more, and it's a beautiful spirit to feel because it keeps me online for my life and my destiny. You know what I'm saying? So embrace your mother if you got one. Embrace it, embrace it, embrace it. There is no, you don't get another mother, you don't get another father. I lost my father in 2006, but it's about the mothers tomorrow. For Mother's Day, make sure you embrace that. I can go on about my queen because I love her just so much. She did so much for me, and I wouldn't be the big air light skin comedian without her. So, and I tell people, you know, a lot of times in life we don't realize that our mother is guiding us, even when she ain't around. Even when I was in the military, she wasn't nowhere around. I would call and talk to her, but she was guiding me then. Through, even though I couldn't see her face to face. Like I said, now I can't see her face to face yet. She's gone, and her body's gone, but her soul and spirit always live in me. So embrace it. If you got a mother, embrace it. And if you don't have a mother, embrace some female that's taking care of you. If it's been a female taking care of you, embrace that. Embrace that because they queens. Just like you said, you love your wife. Like I love my wife. Love it. So, with that said, man, it's just been so great doing this podcast with you. I could go on and on, but this metal war thing going on here at 21st Germantown, it's getting a little rock and rollish. Big Ed, I think, is in there playing the guitar and on the mic, I think about now, Jerry. So,
Hey, at 21st, we actually did a live show for our podcast out there back last month, or it was in April, and we actually sold it out. We sold it out way in advance. So it's a cool venue.
It's a great spot for it. It's a great spot for comedy, great spot for music, great spot for all type of entertainment. It really is. I can't wait to the show next month. Like I said, y'all need to get these $15 advance tickets to the pre-Father's Day comedy show here at 21st Borough Room, 1481 South Shelby Street, here in Louisville, Kentucky. June 17th, 8 o'clock p.m. BHLC production. I got a lot of good comedians. Make sure y'all get them tickets. Also, too, I want you to put out there how people can get in contact with you. Definitely put that mental health thing out there again because people, and that ties in with Mother's Day. There's some people that are just going through mental health don't have their mother. And Mother's Day tomorrow, exactly. They affect them some way, their mindset. So, put that out there as far as with, again, your link or whatever, and then have people get in contact with you and what you're doing too.
All you got to do is look up Hillbilly Horror Stories, and you can find it pretty much any podcast app that we're on. If you Google us, you'll find where we've been on the news several times talking about our worldwide approach. But hillbillyhorrorstories.com. Best way to reach us. You can send us an email from there, or we're Hillbilly Horror Stories on Facebook. We've got a page and a group, and then if you want some extra support, just go to the group, and then where it asks you the questions, just put you heard about us on this podcast, and I'll make sure somebody lets you in.
Yeah, and send that to me too, your group or whatever through chat, man. Send it to me so I can put it on my page because I got some followers and people on my page who follow me big time, and especially this I'm here on YouTube, my subscribers, and they just need to know, and there's people out there that needs help right now. And I hope if somebody's looking at this podcast and then they can get the help they need, because the people need help and don't know where to start. They need that help. And there's nothing the matter with getting help. Let me say it again. There's nothing the matter with getting help. We all need help at one time or another, it's mental or whatever. There's nothing the matter with getting help. We human beings. Things are going to happen. We're not perfect. We just try to live our life to the best we know how as individuals. And with Mother's Day coming tomorrow, like I said, I know some of you don't have your mothers like me, but embrace somebody else's mother if you have to. Hug them or whatever. So, but enjoy the day because it's a beautiful, beautiful day. And every day is Mother's Day to me. With that said, this being the BHLC podcast, I'll be here again second Saturday of the month. I think the next one's June 10th. 4 days for my birthday. I'll be 100 years old next month, so I'm trying to wear it well.
Black don't crack.
That's right. And as you get older too, I'm sure you felt this. You get older, you just embrace different things in life. And young people can't understand this right now. I'm about ready to say, but you embrace some of the more small and simple things in life. Y'all so much are trying to embrace all this other crazy stuff. But as you get older, you embrace the small, simple thing because you realize you may have even wasted time on certain things and certain people that you shouldn't have along the way of the course of life. And life ain't nothing but a book. I'm in a certain chapter in my book where Yeah, it's getting near the end, but I'm turning the page to another chapter. And you have to turn to another chapter in your life. Just where it is, life is number one book. It's all about how you enjoy each chapter of your book of your life. That's what it is, for real. So, man, it's been great, man. I don't know where else to go. It's just been great. I'm so glad I had you. I'm gonna have to have you back. Yeah, I'm gonna have to have you back for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure we got plenty more we can talk about.
Oh, you know we do. We got a whole lot more. Maybe even have your wife with on the next one because, you know, I love her too. I got much love for her too. And you just don't know. When I put that flyer on my page, a picture of us all at the Improv, it just really touched me because that's how comedians was back then. We all just love each other, love supporting each other and doing stand up. You know, so it just
I'm not in the game anymore, Lovis, but everybody tells me it's not what it was 20 years ago.
a little
As
bit.
far as the camaraderie and stuff. I mean.
Yeah. And as far as camaraderie, it's not. And I agree with him. It ain't. It is different. And but I tell you what, a lot of comedians they comedians, whether internet comedians or whatever, social media comedians, whatever. But it's truly a blessing that I got the comedy one-on-one, hands-on through this. So because when I take the stage, I know who I am because of what I've been through. You know what I'm saying? And you can't go by that. You have to experience it. And you know what I'm talking about. So, but with that said, man, it's been great having you on my podcast. I'm definitely gonna have you back. The BHLC podcast be second Saturday in June 10th. Make sure y'all tune in and make sure y'all support Jerry Hillbilly Horror Stories, what he's doing, because he's got a lot of good stuff going over there. Support his mental health links. Go to his page, support that if you need that help. Or if you know somebody, turn them to it. So continue supporting this podcast, continue supporting him. I thank y'all for tuning in tonight. I'm the one and only big head light skinned comedian. Thank you for tuning into the BHLC podcast. I'll see y'all June 10th. I really appreciate you. I appreciate you being my guest too, Jerry, as always.
All right, brother. Anytime.
Okay. You enjoy your night and much love to you and your wife.
Thank you, sir.
No problem.